Aliens thought he was nobody, until a Galactic General called him Sir. The star station of Drenhal's crossing bustled like a hive of insects. Gleaming ships from 100 different worlds docked and departed, while traders barked offers in a dozen languages across the bazaar. The smell of hot oils, metallic dust, and alien spices mixed into a haze that seemed permanent. In the middle of all this chaos walked a human man who looked utterly unremarkable. His name was Elias Rook. He wore plain spacer's clothes, a patch jacket, and boots that had seen better days. No insignia, no weapon holster, not even a datapad at his hip. He carried nothing but a small satchel slung over one shoulder. Among the towering insectoid archrons, the feathered escherons, and the armored reptilian grax, he looked laughably ordinary, a soft, thin-skinned biped with pale eyes and dark hair streaked by premature gray. Most dismissed him as a drifter, perhaps a washed-up hauler pilot who drunk away his ship. They didn't know the truth. The beginning. Elias slipped through the crowds, head slightly bowed. He'd learned that moving without drawing attention was a skill as important as breathing. In the outer rim worlds, where fortunes rose and fell by the hour, invisibility was survival. He stopped at a food stall, where a Grax vendor was frying what looked like glowing worms. 2 skewers, Elias said quietly. The Grax chuckled, showing jagged teeth. Human stomach won't handle them. Salt them heavy, Elias replied. I'll manage. He paid in credits, sat at the edge of the platform, and ate in silence, watching cargo drones flit like insects across the docks. Nearby, a group of young alien cadets in gleaming blue uniforms pointed at him. They were tall, four-armed dray-vans with crystalline skin that glimmered under the station lights. One mimicked Elias's slouched posture, another pretended to chew with exaggerated motions. The group burst into laughter. Elias ignored them. He'd grown used to that. Humans were still a rarity in these sectors, mostly seen as curiosities. Primitive wanderers from a backwater world, not yet fully integrated into the galactic concord. He preferred it that way. But as the cadets' laughter grew louder, a voice spoke behind them. That man you mock, the voice said in accented dray-van, deserves more respect than your entire academy combined. The cadets froze. Slowly they turned. Standing, there was General Kale TRYNN of the Concord Defense Fleet, the scourge of 3 Grax wars, his armor marked with more campaign sigils than most could name. His face, etched with age and battle scars, was well known across the galaxy, and he was looking directly at Elias. The cadets saluted hastily, stumbling over themselves. Kale ignored them. He walked past, approached Elias, and, before the stunned crowd, bowed his head. Sir, General TRYNN said, it's been too long. The bazaar went silent. Even the food drones paused mid-flight. Every eye turned toward the ragged human nobody. Elias sighed and set down his skewer. Kale, he said, I told you not call me that. The middle. The rumors spread through the station like plasma fire in a dry dock. By the next cycle, everyone had heard. A human drifter had been addressed as Sir by one of the most decorated generals in the galaxy. Some whispered he must be a retired war hero. Others claimed he was a disguised noble. More superstitious voices muttered that he was a living weapon hidden by the Concord. The truth, however, was stranger. Elias found himself reluctantly seated across from General Kale in a private lounge. Kale had insisted. You shouldn't have come here, Elias muttered. Kale chuckled. And let you skulk around stations eating worm skewers? Not a chance. He leaned forward. The Concord needs you again. Elias's jaw tightened. I'm done. Done? The galaxy isn't. The Grax are stirring again. Reports say they're testing planetary defenses on the rim, and the Council is in disarray. Without you... Stop. Elias cut in. His voice was sharp, commanding, and for a moment, the weight of it silenced even Kale. I am no one, Elias said more quietly. I've earned that. Kale's gaze softened. No one else remembers. But I do. I was a cadet when you commanded the Resolute. I watched you in the siege of Drelter, with a single maneuver that no one else would have dared. Half the fleet survived because of you. You taught us what it meant to fight with more than weapons. You fought with mind, with spirit. Elias looked away. Memories clawed at him. Flashes of burning hulls, screams across comms, the weight of thousands of lives hanging on every order. And when it was over, Kale continued, you vanished. Rumors said you died. But I knew better. You wanted peace. You wanted silence. Elias said nothing. Kale leaned back. I respected that. But the galaxy doesn't give peace forever. It's coming again, Elias. And we need you. That night, Elias sat in his rented berth, staring at the stars beyond the viewport. He'd tried for years to be invisible, to fade into obscurity, to let history forget his name. But the galaxy, it seemed, had not forgotten. The door chimed. He opened it to find one of the Dravan cadets, the same who had mocked him earlier. "I came to apologize," the crystalline youth stammered. "I didn't know who you were." Elias studied him. "You still don't." The cadet nodded nervously. "General THRYNN said you saved his life once, and the lives of thousands. Is it true?" Elias didn't answer. Instead, he asked, "Why did you join the academy?" The cadet blinked. "To bring honor to my family, to defend the Concord. And if defense means sacrifice," Elias asked, "not medals, not songs, sacrifice, losing comrades, living with ghosts." The cadet swallowed. His crystalline features dimmed slightly. I hadn't thought." "Think about it," Elias said softly and closed the door. Rising conflict. The next day, Concord officials arrived. They had heard Kale's whispers. They begged Elias to advise, to strategize, to once again lend his mind to their faltering fleets. But Elias refused them all. He walked the station's halls, haunted by memories. Civilians still bustled, oblivious to the storm on the horizon. But soldiers knew. He saw it in their eyes, the quiet dread, the uncertainty. And then it happened. The Grax struck. Without warning, a raiding fleet dropped from hyperspace, blockading Drenhal's crossing. Sirens wailed. Defense ships scrambled, but they were outnumbered 3-1. The station shook as plasma fire tore into its shields. Panic swept the bazaar. Traders fled. Families huddled in corridors. The Dravan cadets ran to their posts. General Kale barked orders over comms, his voice steady but strained. Elias stood in the chaos, frozen. He could walk away. He could hide in the lower levels, survive until the battle passed. That's what he'd promised himself. Never again. Then he saw a child, an Esherin girl with feathered wings, cry in the corridor, trapped by debris. Without thinking, Elias rushed forward, lifted the beam, and pulled her free. She clung to him, sobbing. And just like that, the walls inside him cracked. He couldn't run. Not while innocents suffered. Not while soldiers died trying to protect them. With grim resolve, Elias strode to the command deck. The turning point. The doors hissed open, revealing officers frantically manning consoles. Kale turned, eyes widening. "Elias." "Move," Elias said, his voice carrying the weight of command he had buried for years. The room fell silent. Officers stepped aside instinctively. Elias scanned the tactical display. Enemy ships forming a net, cutting off escape vectors. Defense forces already crumbling. He began issuing orders. Redirect shield energy to forward arc, pull back the frigates to Sector 9. Feign retreat, draw them in. Signal the station drones to launch mining charges. Tether them to the debris field. Officers scrambled to obey. Kale watched with a fierce grin. Within minutes, the battle shifted. The Grax, confident in their superior numbers, pushed forward into the apparent gap, but the retreat funneled them directly into the debris field. At Elias's command, the mining charges detonated, hurling asteroids through their formation. Half their cruisers were crippled instantly. "Now," Elias said, "counterattack." The defense fleet surged back with renewed vigor, exploiting the chaos. The Grax, caught off guard, faltered. One by one, their ships were destroyed or forced to retreat. When the last enemy vessel jumped away, the station erupted in cheers. Elias stood silently at the console, his face shadowed. Kale approached. "You see? The galaxy still needs you." Elias shook his head. "The galaxy needs hope. Today, I gave them a taste. But I can't be their savior forever." "Then be their teacher," Kale said. "Train the next generation. Show them what it means to fight with more than ships." Elias looked at him for a long moment. Slowly, he nodded. The ending. In the weeks that followed, Elias Rook remained on Drenhal's crossing. Not as a commander, not as a general, but as a mentor. The cadets who once mocked him now hung on his every word. He taught them not only tactics, but the cost of leadership, the burden of choices, the weight of lives. Word spread across the Concord. The nameless drifter was no longer invisible. He was a strategist of legend, the ghost of the resolute, returned not to lead armies, but to shape the minds who would. One evening, as he dismissed his class, the Dravan cadet who had first apologized lingered. "Sir," the cadet said hesitantly, "do you think we can truly be ready for what's coming?" Elias studied the young alien's uncertain gaze. He thought of Kale, of the war-torn past, of the little Esherin girl he'd saved. You won't ever feel ready, Elias said softly. But if you fight for those who cannot fight for themselves, then you'll be enough. The cadet bowed deeply, and in the shadows of the station, watching from afar, General Kale Tichowanen allowed himself a small smile. For the first time in years, he believed the Concord had a future. As for Elias Rook, the galaxy no longer saw him as a nobody. He was a man even generals called Sir,